to talk about how with technology you can make amazing worlds. Come with me. My team and I bring the Halo world to life.
Is that you?
That is me. I wasn't a math genius, and I knew nothing about coding. But you guys do. You guys have the power to change things.
I want your job.
I want you to have my job.
My name is Harry Boomer. I work at channels 19 and 43, Cleveland 19 News. Good to see everybody. I see so many friends that I've known over the years, and it is such a pleasure to be asked to be here to be a part of this very important event. The 20th anniversary luncheon and celebration and award ceremony of the Greater Cleveland Drug Court. Cleveland is a forerunner in this effort, and we thank you. It has been the forerunner in so many historic things, and this is just another thing you can add to your plate that is actually saving lives, and we're very pleased to have you join us this afternoon. Those who work in the vineyard of trying to save lives, helping to save lives, actually saving lives, and those whose lives have been saved as a consequence of being a part of the drug court. We thank all of you for your efforts and for being here this afternoon. You know, this drug thing has been a thing for a very long time. It has not been so long that we have had the attitude that we need to try and help those who are addicted to drugs and not just punish those who are addicted to drugs. We need to try and find ways to help rather than to help or hinder. And the drug court is one of those important entities in this community and around the country that is doing exactly that. And for that, my hat's off to you and my congratulations for all the hard work, the time, and effort you've put into this particular effort. We're going to move on with the program here, so put on my specs so I can see what's going on. As you know, and as I've already said, drugs have been devastating in the greater Cleveland community, in Ohio, and around the nation. We know about the latest scourge, that being fentanyl, that's taking so many of us out of here. We can stop that. You are working to stop that, and we thank you for that. It is good to know that there is a resource out there in the community that cares enough to save lives and not just talk rhetoric around saving lives. There's some other initiatives out there too that are in the vineyard working to do the same thing and to enhance the drug court's ability to save lives. We need to partner with them as often as we can and as much as we can because every life is valuable. The Creator put each of us on this planet for a particular purpose, and it wasn't just to go down in addiction to drugs and to die on the street or in somebody's house or robbing somebody to buy the drugs that you were addicted to. That is not your purpose on the planet. I think we all here understand that. Those who work to save the lives and those whose lives have been saved understand that. And I again appreciate the fact that you are here to help us celebrate this 20th anniversary and to further this effort for another 20 plus years. Because as long as there are drugs, there are lives that need to be saved. Now, in that, let me just say that today is a celebration. Because of the Greater Cleveland Drug Court, almost 1,800 people are living clean and sober lives and are back contributing to the community. Many of them are actively helping others struggle with the addiction. Today, we also celebrate the people who made an impact with the Greater Cleveland Drug Court. Some of these individuals worked from the ground up and helped create the docket as we know it today. Our congratulations and thanks to you. We will also hear from an amazing story of recovery from a local musician who not only turned his life around, but is now dictating and dedicating his work and life to helping others recover. Speaking of entertainment, let's give Kevin Conwell and Footprints a big round of applause. And by the way, that is Councilman Kevin Conwell. He dedicates himself and he volunteers for these kinds of events all the time. And I appreciate the fact that he is not just sitting at City Hall, but he's out in the community doing what needs to be done. Don't worry, the other elected and appointed officials, you will be called and recognized in a little bit. All right? All right, there we go. Right now, I'd like to turn the podium over to the Honorable Michelle D. Early. Judge Early has been on the Cleveland Municipal Court since 2009, and in 2017, the judges elected her as the administrative and presiding judge for the court. Please put your hands together for Judge Michelle D. Early.
Good afternoon. On behalf of the judges of the Cleveland Municipal Court, I welcome you to the Greater Cleveland Drug Court 20th Anniversary Celebration Luncheon. I'd like to acknowledge the elected officials here. We have Judge Ann Okar, Judge Emanuela Groves, Judge Joe Zone, Judge Ron O'Leary, Judge Anita Laster-Mays, Councilman Kevin Conwell, Councilman Brian Moore, Councilwoman Yvonne Conwell, Judge Donna Congeni Fitzsimmons. We also have, for public officials, we have City Prosecutor Carrie Howard is here. We have Bill Mason, who's the Chief of Staff for the Cuyahoga County, and Public Defender Mark Stanton. So we can give them a round of applause. And I apologize, and Judge Ronald Adrian. As Cleveland judges, we understand the importance of having successful specialized dockets. We also understand the significant impact these dockets have on the lives of the individuals who participate and their families. Countless lives have been changed and even saved. Judge Lauren Moore has been a tireless advocate for the drug court program. She has perfected the recipe of having just the right amount of tough love, compassion, and patience. She has facilitated the success of a number of the graduates. Judge Moore, on behalf of the judges, your colleagues, I'd like to say thank you not only for the work that you do, but I'd also like to let you know not only do we support the work that you do, we also greatly appreciate it.
Thank you, Judge Early. Speaking of Judge Lauren C. Moore, since its inception in 1998, there have been 3 judges overseeing the Greater Cleveland Drug Court. Judge Larry Jones, Judge Anita Laster-Mays, and the person I'm going to introduce and present to you now, Judge Lauren C. Moore. Judge Moore has been with the court since 2004, and in 2015, she became the Greater Cleveland Drug Court Judge. Please put your hands together for Judge Honorable Lauren C. Moore.
Thank you all. Appreciate the wonderful, warm introductions. And I really appreciate seeing everyone here. You always say, what if you throw a party and no one shows up? Well, I'm so glad that you all are all here, and that shows that you all care about recovery, you care about drug court, you care about its participants, and that's a big thing. So thank you, and a round of applause for yourselves, for your support. 20 years is a long time. 20 years we've had this drug court in existence, and I'm so pleased. It's been one of the most gratifying things of my career to preside over the Greater Cleveland Drug Court. I personally want to thank everybody for being here. Mr. Harry Boomer took the day off to be here. He is volunteering his time, and I just want to thank you publicly and personally for your time and your kind words. And don't forget to watch him on Channel 19 and 43. And also, Councilman Conwell, I personally want to thank you for being here and volunteering your time, and your band members, all of them. We appreciate you being here. And I think it's great that we were able to start this day off with some celebratory music from the Footprints. So thank you very much. And I think we just see Judge Cassidy walking in. I'd like to acknowledge Judge Cassidy. We did the public officials. I also, while we have a full house, I want to thank the people who put this together, because usually you do that at the end of the luncheon when everyone is gone. And so I want to, everybody who had a part in this, putting this luncheon together, please stand, including my coordinator, Latoya Eason, and Flash. Flash never gets the recognition. He does so much behind the scenes, and we appreciate him. He has all his good ideas, and we love to see those ideas being implemented. And who else? Everybody on our committee, because there were a lot. Kevin, McGlynn, Stan, and my personal bailiff, Michael Graves. Where'd he go? Michael. He did a whole lot. Devin, where's Devin? Devin, stand up. She was on the committee. She did a lot. And who else do we have? Stand up. I can't see. I don't have my glasses on, so I can't see everybody. But our committee, where's Lynn Murray? The check writer. Magistrate Lynn Murray and Regina, one of our recipients, she was helpful. So these are the people who put this together, and I just want them to get some recognition before everybody leaves, because this was a big deal putting this together, and there are so many moving parts and so many details, and I'm just so glad to have great people behind me. So thank you to the committee, appreciate it. Now, when we were planning this, of course, we wanted to have a nice, warm, autumn day for this event, and we got that. It's a nice, warm, beautiful autumn day. But also it's September, and September is Recovery Month. I don't know if you all know that. Recovery Month for a lot of different things, but specifically Recovery Month for addiction. It's addiction recovery. And if you haven't guessed it by now, turquoise is the color for addiction recovery. That's why we have the little ribbons. And thank you guys who put them on your lapels and on your pretty dresses. We appreciate that. And so that shows, if you go out in the community and say, well, what is that ribbon for? That is recovery addiction awareness. So thank you very much for doing that. Oh, Beth Sullivan, she did all these ribbons too. Beth, and she's always doing things for all the different courts. So where's Beth? Wherever she is, please tell Beth I said thank you. And if I missed anybody, again, I hate to say it's very cliche, but charge it to my head and not my heart. But I appreciate everything that everybody does. Also, just so you know, some just little background about Recovery Month and Addiction Recovery Month specifically. They have been acknowledging this for 30 years. I didn't even know it's been that long. It's been 30 years that SAMHSA started this, and that's Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration. And they do that because we want to bring awareness to these disorders, and they want to also remove the stigma, and they want people to be encouraged to seek help. And so that's why we have Recovery Month. So thank you all for being here. Please enjoy lunch, enjoy the music, and enjoy the awardees when we present them a little later on, and our wonderful dynamic speaker also. Thank you very much. Thanks again for coming.
Judge, your pen.
Judge, thank you very much. There are many stories of addiction, and today we are fortunate to have an individual, including David Smeltz, to share his. You may have seen David perform around town. In 1978, he co-founded the first American reggae band in Ohio called ITAL. 9 years ago, he started a nonprofit called Clean House, a sober living facility for men recovering from substance abuse. In 2014, he came out with his first book, From Reggae to Recovery. It is an eye-opener and much of what is going on, he's going to talk about today. Before we eat, because I want him to get all the attention he deserves and more, we're going to have Mr. David Smeltz come up and talk to us, and then we'll let you have your lunch. That way you stick around. Mr. Smeltz, if you would please come on up. Here's applause for him, please.
Oh, first and foremost, I want to thank God of my understanding for allowing me to be here. And they say you can't get here from there, you know? And I certainly didn't know that 18 years sober, clean and sober, I'd be standing up in front of a whole bunch of people talking about sobriety. You know, my heart's beating real fast, it's thumping right now, and I used to pay a lot of money for that, you know? You know? Yeah, getting it for free now, right? You know? Okay. I should know how to use a mic, right? Thank you, Aaron. I just want to say that congratulations to Drug Court in 20 years, because you've certainly helped a lot of people. Given chances to a lot of people, because, you know, addiction is not a moral issue. You know, it's a disease. You know, and I didn't realize that until I was, you know, addicted. You know, my experience, my first experience with the judge was Judge Lynn Toller, and it was during a domestic violence case in the midst of my addiction. And I came in there. Now, the majority of people who go to court, before they go to court, they wouldn't put anything into their bodies. It was mood and mind altering, but not me. You know, I figured if I had to sit in front of the judge, I better be, you know, take the edge off a little bit. So I'm in there, and I've got this little stupid smile on my face. And she said, "Wipe that smile off your face. You're going to be wearing orange." And I said, "Okay." And the outcome of that is she got a TV show, and I got sober. You know, and she no longer has a TV show, but I'm still sober, you know. But just that little nudge from the judge, as they say, I knew something was going on with my life that wasn't going to benefit me, you know. I'm an only child, selfish and self-centered, got what I want, whatever I wanted it, and you know, there was a time before drugs and alcohol that I woke up happy, I felt happy, I was the happiest little boy in the world, you know? And then I started learning about, you know, black, white, male, female, job, no job, money, and all sorts of things that I would grow up in adulthood worrying about, and making sure that I had plenty of love and all this other stuff. And I never felt growing up that I was part of anything, part of anybody. I felt different. One reason I felt different when I was in elementary school, well, check this out. My last name is Smeltz, right? Ain't too many black Smeltzes walking around, right? So as soon as you start, you know, smelly Smeltz and all that, and, you know, I know some of you folks still say that. But I felt different. You know, I was tall for my age. I didn't have a father, and my father wasn't around. I had a grandfather, and he wasn't the father figure. All this, I just felt different. So I learned that I wanted to be part of something. And what made me happy with myself is how you treated me. So I was always looking for that outside, you know, pat on the back so I could feel okay with myself. And once I got into junior high school, I started drinking about the age of 13. My grandfather had Stroh's beer in the refrigerator, good old Bohemian beer, and I had a sip of Stroh's. Now, I wasn't a blackout drinker from the rip, and I didn't like the taste of it because it tasted nasty. Because previous to that, I liked Coca-Cola, lemonade, and all that, iced tea, and Stroh's didn't taste anything like that, right? But what it did have to offer was a thing they call a buzz. And that buzz made me feel okay. It was similar to the same kind of feeling I had rolling down the hill and standing up. I had a little buzz. The same kind of feeling I had when they said, well, hold your breath, and I'll come around and squeeze you like this, and then you let your breath out and you go, oh, right? It's the same kind of feeling as, I always like to call it 97. 97, I used to love that feeling. If you don't know what 97 is, when they give you a sedative before you go on under, like in surgery or something like that, they give you something, the anesthesiologist gives you something, they say count back from 100, you go 100, 99, 98, 97, then you're out. I like 97. You know what I mean? And I tried to hit 97 for a long time. 97 never lasted, you know? So once I had something that made me feel different and better about myself, I wanted more of it. Alcohol, you know, alcohol worked for me. It didn't work against me. And when it worked for me, I used it, you know? It wasn't until alcohol and drugs started working against me that I thought maybe there's a problem, you know? Going into you know, high school and growing up a little hippie and all that stuff around that age, and I experimented with a lot of things. So my perception of life was changed by whatever I put in me, and it made me feel good. Now, there was a time when I got a little bit older and I'm watching TV and I see this guy on TV, and it's on the Manhattan Transfer. Anybody's old enough to remember that? Probably not. Somebody said, yeah. Manhattan Transfer, and I saw this guy on there, and he's playing this music, and he's playing these 3 chords, which I learned on a guitar in the basement. Now, I used to have a guitar in the basement, you know, because I wanted to be like Hendrix, and I drank a 6-pack or 12-pack of beer, and I thought I sounded like Hendrix, you know, turn up the amp all the way, and this feedback, I'm Hendrix, you know. So I knew these 3 chords, a G, C, and a D, and I heard this guy playing them. I said, I can do that. Then they started talking about him not combing his hair. He had dreadlocks. I said, I can do that too. Then they started talking about this religion, him smoking ganja. And I said, I know I can do that, right? So I started a reggae band, okay? And now I no longer want to be like you want to be like me, right? So I'm feeling great. And no better place for an alcoholic to be than in a bar every night of the week. And you got everybody who's coming to see the band say, oh man, you're great, you're great. They don't care how drunk you are. They don't care how many words you forget. They just want to have a good time. And they say, oh, I wish I could be you and travel and do all this other stuff. But they don't realize the times when I'm sitting in a hotel room wanting to kill myself. They don't realize the times when I'm sitting in a car poking back and forth on a stem, wondering, how'd I get like this? So we were very successful on the road, playing for a while, and it got to the point where I would come to in the morning, or afternoon actually, after the gig, and immediately, you know, throw up and get sick, and I got used to it. So I got used to the lifestyle. Fast forwarding a little bit, I came off of the road because I thought there might be a problem. I thought I was just playing too much and I needed a rest. I knew alcohol couldn't have anything to do with it. You know, maybe the drugs, but I knew alcohol couldn't. So I came home and played house for a little while with a young lady, and we eventually got married. She didn't party like I did, and I thought maybe by osmosis, you know, maybe I won't either. We had 2 daughters together. Long story short, she left with our 2 daughters in 2000 while I was in Cleveland Heights jail. And that still wasn't enough to turn my life around because I had a resentment now. I had a reason now, you know. Long story short, selfish and self-centered me eventually wanted to end it. You know, I did not like anybody. I didn't like myself especially. I was not allowed into my mother's house. When I had to leave when she left. She asked me, she said, you're sick, you need help. I went to a couple of outpatient treatments at Metro. After 3 dirty urines, they said, you need inpatient treatment. And I got a little sheet that had a bunch of treatment centers on it. Orca House was one of those places. I took that sheet over to my mom's house. I said, look, I'm going to get treatment. She said, oh, thank God, come on in. I said, yeah. I'm in now. So I went downstairs. I got all comfortable. She said, aren't you going to call somebody? I said, oh, yeah. I called Orca House. They said, don't drink, use anything for a week, and we'll have a bed for you. And I'm thinking, if I couldn't drink and use for a week, I wouldn't be calling you. That's what I was thinking, right? I didn't say that, but that's what I was thinking. So I said, okay. That week went by. My mother took me to 89th and Chester and pulled up into Orca House driveway. I had a bag of dirty clothes, a pack of Marlboro Reds, and my mother gave me a $10 bill. And she said, go do what you need to do. And I said, okay, I'm just going to smoke this cigarette first. And I went out, and I went to the edge of the driveway and started smoking this cigarette. And she took off. I could have sworn I heard her peel rubber, but that probably wasn't true. So I look up at Orca House, and I look down 89th, and I look up at Orca House, and I start walking down 89th because I had $10 in my pocket. Whenever I had any kind of money, that's what I did. I used. I was powerless over alcohol and drugs. Powerless. And I thought, well, if I'm going to go to this recovery thing, I'm going to go to treatment, I don't know, I might get sober, so I better get high before I go in. That's my thoughts. That's my thinking, So I did that last one. I walked back to Orca House, and that's where my life changed. I went through those big doors, and there was a house full of 16 other guys, 16 personalities plus my 2. And I was introduced to meetings. They had meetings every day at Orca House. And I started listening to what they had to say at these meetings. And I saw that these people were coming to these meetings. They had alumni meetings, and people were coming to the alumni meetings, and they were sober. People coming to the alumni meetings actually had cell phones, that was my interest. I said, they got a cell phone, That means they're important. They probably got a car too, right? So I'm saying, well, maybe if I get sober, I get a cell phone and a car. I wish I didn't have a cell phone now, right? Sometimes. So my interest was basically to get a cell phone, and also my daughters, I didn't want them to see in the paper that their father died like a junkie or an alcoholic. And I was hoping that someday I would see them again, because I didn't know where they were, because as I said, my ex-wife took them somewhere. So this guy's doing a big book session at Orca House on a Saturday morning. Big gruff guy sitting behind his desk, and he's reading from the book, and he says, and we have ceased fighting anything at all, even alcohol. And I went up to him after the meeting. I said, is that true? He says, it's not only true, it's a guarantee. He had 6 years sober, which is 6 years more than I had. And I asked him to be my sponsor. He's been my sponsor since April 20th of 2001. I have a sobriety date, April 20th of 2001. I have a sponsor. I have a home group, Listen to Learn. We meet every Monday, 11910 Buckeye, 6 o'clock. Come see us. And my life started to change because I started to follow directions. Who'd have thought? Once I allowed somebody to have input into my mind, my life would change. Now, I wasn't very comfortable being without that substance inside my body because I used it for such a long time. And standing in Orca House and going outside and smoking cigarettes, I was kind of jumpy. Somebody opened like a Pepsi or something in the back, pop! And I'm thinking they're cracking beers, man, Or somebody will flick their lighter, and I think they're doing something else. So I was really jumpy, and I had to learn how to trust in this power greater than myself. And I was introduced to that power through working the steps. As I said, how do you get here from there? And I think a lot of us get here sobriety from there with the help of people like you to give us a chance to see that we're not bad people, to see that there's a possibility that we can do better. If we don't know better, we can't do better, right? So during this whole process, I was able to, 4 months at Orca House, 104 days at Orca House, and then I went directly to the PASS program, the Salvation Army, and I stayed there for 8 months. And I learned how to stay sober. I learned how to use the steps in a transitional housing facility where a lot of people weren't thinking about any kind of steps. But I was able to learn how to be okay with me. While I was in there, I wanted to give back what was given to me, and I thought, well, maybe someday I'll be able to start a transitional housing project. And in 2010, I was able to do that. It's called Clean House, Changed Lives, Empowered and New is the acronym for CLEAN. And we have a place on 1910 Buckeye, where my home group is Monday nights at 6 o'clock. Come by and see us. I wrote a book about about my recovery, not about recovery. I'm no professor on recovery. I know what has happened with me, and all I can tell you is what has happened with me. My life has changed. I'm no longer the person that I used to be. And I thank a lot of you who had faith in me, and I thank a lot of you who prayed for me, and not just me. When I say me, I mean the addict and alcoholic in general. Thank you for praying for me. So what I do today, I try to help some other folks, just as I was helped. I was told earlier in recovery, the most selfish thing I can do is to not give back what was freely given to me. So that's what I try to do. I see a lot of faces in here that I know. I will not disclose the anonymity and all that stuff, but I know I'm at the right place today. I know I'm in the right place with you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Congratulations, drug court. Thank you.
David, thank you very much for telling us your story, for telling us and showing us by your own example what is possible. We know that just because life is difficult, it does not mean you have to give up. You may give out sometimes, but you don't give up. You may fall down sometimes, but you get back up again. We appreciate your example. Me particularly today, in listening to your telling us that at one point you thought about killing yourself, committing suicide. I've often said that suicide is a permanent solution to what is often a temporary problem. And I say that because tomorrow, Saturday, I'm going to go to a memorial for a coworker of mine of 22 years who committed suicide. I feel pain right now. So as David has said, ask for your prayers. I ask you for your prayers that I may and my coworkers get through this pain that we're feeling. None of us know why. We wonder, what if? Why didn't he? What could we have done? What might we have done? There are no good answers that we know of at this point. But we're just going to trust in the Lord and know that he will get us through all of this. Just as he brought David through his trials and tribulations, just as he climbed the rough side of the mountain, we know that it is possible. And the rough side of the mountain is not a bad thing to have, because this is the truth. If the mountain were smooth, you couldn't climb it. But because there is a place you can put your hand and pull up, find a place you can stick your toe in just to sustain your body till you can pull up another way. When you get really tired in the spirit and the body, you find a ledge to lean on, to lay on, to find just a little time to rest your body, your spirit, and your soul. You can reach up again and grab another crevice that keep on climbing higher. We thank you for your message, for your example, and for Clean House. Brother David Smelts. By the way, he has a book that's on sale, and this is a good time to remind you that after this program, go buy his book. Help the brother out. By his example, he's helping others out. Also, I want to draw your attention to this. On each of your tables and in front of each of you, there is Ohio Senate Bill 3 in a nutshell. Why you should care about this. Please read this. Ingest this. Understand this. Push this. Because this is important. This, ladies and gentlemen, is life-saving. At this point, let's now bring up Latoria Eason. Latoria is a drug court coordinator, and she has few words that she wants to share about the team's approach of drug court and the people who make up that team. Please, by your applause, welcome Latoria Eason.
Thank you. I would like to thank you all for coming out to celebrate with us. We are very excited to see so many faces. I want to take the opportunity to thank those who are on the front lines of drug court, who are working with our participants day in and day out, who go above and beyond to ensure the success of our program and the sobriety of our participants. So can I have our More Counseling family stand up, please? And I also have, unfortunately, our Center Point family wasn't able to make it here. If we can have our Nora family stand up, please, who also celebrated the opening of their brand new building yesterday. So congratulations to Nora. And if I can also have our Key Decisions family stand. Thank you for your service. They are one of our newest partners, and they are doing phenomenal work. Also, I would like to thank our recovery coaches that we have in the building. Any of our recovery coaches here? Miss Laura. Thank you. And also our family members from the Public Defender's Office, Kevin Berman and Ann Smith. I also would like to recognize any of our suburban partners that we have in the room. Ms. Pat Ivory we have here. I believe we have Judge Fitzsimmons here from Rocky River. And I also want to give a special thanks to Prosecutor Jose Torres, who has been doing a phenomenal job at referring people from the felony court. So thank you, Mr. Torres. And I know you all have heard me use the term family. That's exactly what I consider our drug court team. We have gotten to know each other well. We mesh well. We disagree. We agree. We work it out. But we do it all with our hearts and with our participants' best interests in mind. So thank you all.
Thank you very much. Now we're going to have the proclamations. And to present those awards, with that duty, we've tapped Judge Lawrence C. Moore. Judge Moore and Judge Early will do the honors.
Well, in the interest of time, I'm just going to acknowledge the proclamations that we got. The first one is from the City of Cleveland, Council President Kevin Kelly. We thank you. Also, we got a proclamation from Mayor Frank Jackson. And from the County Council that Councilwoman Yvonne Conwell brought today. We thank you so much for recognizing the importance of drug court. All right, so when I call your name, I would like for you to come up, and if you would like to say anything to this lovely audience, please feel free to do so. We're not going to spend a lot of time reading their bios, and needless to say, the bios in the book that you can read are just a snapshot of their entire career, because there's so much more depth to everything that they do. And so these are impactfulness awards, because everybody here today who's receiving an award has had some wonderful impact on drug court and the perpetuation of drug court. And we just want to acknowledge them here today. 20 years, or it's a generation. It's been an entire generation of drug courts at Cleveland Municipal Court. And so these people deserve all the recognition. So when I call your name, please come up. And I know our first awardee is out of town, and I think we're going to have either a family member or one of his colleagues accept on his behalf. But the Honorable Larry Jones, our first drug court judge. And accepting on his behalf is his colleague, Judge Anita Laster-Mays.
Good afternoon, everyone. Judge Jones called me last night and said, when they call my name, you get up there. So he wanted me just to state that he's very proud of drug court. He also said for me to state that he is very humble, and he's happy to see how drug court has grown, and he wants you to continue to do a good job. So thank you.
So Judge Mays is not going anywhere because she is the second recipient of our Impact Awards, and Judge Mays was our second drug court judge. So let's hear it for Judge Mays.
And as Judge Jones' favorite judge, I again just want to say thank you. Drug court was like my baby also, and just to see how individuals transformed and being able to bring the suburban courts in and just to expand it, it was just so great. And I'm happy that Judge Moore and the team has continued in these efforts and just continue to work with the community and transform lives. That's what it's all about, transforming lives, and that's what I'm proud about. So thank you.
Okay, our third recipient was known as the mother of drug court, and she was our first drug court coordinator. Let's have a round of applause for Jesslyn Wilson.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here this afternoon. It's really, really emotional for me because drug court was my baby. Back in October of 1997, I saw a Plain Dealer article stating that the drug court was coming to Cleveland Municipal Court. And I was extremely happy about that because I had been with Stephanie Tubbs Jones working on bringing a drug court here. We went to Dade County to see the first one from the nation in Miami under Janet Reno. And so I wrote Judge Jones a letter asking him if I could be a part of drug court. I didn't hear from him. Sitting there in December in my home, I get a call. And I pick up the phone and I say, hello, and the boy says, how you doing, Jess? And I said, who's this? And he said, Larry. And I said, Larry who? And he said, Larry Jones. I'm like, oh, Judge, I'm sorry, I didn't recognize your voice. To which he said, if you want to be a probation officer, you're welcome to come on board. And I'm like, you could call me dog catcher as long as I'm part of this program. And so that was the start of me being with drug court. And after that, I moved up and became the director. It is my love. I wish it to have another 20 years. I wish it all the best. They have a wonderful team that it's working with and a wonderful job. So thank you very much for this award.
Yes, with the little people.
Little tiny people.
Thank you. Thank you, Jess. Now, our fourth recipient is our second drug court judge, and he also has a wonderful history, and he came from D.C. to be with us today. So I'd like to welcome Dr. Daryl Jackson.
Good evening, everyone. I would like to say drug court is very, very special to me also. One of the things I would like to point out is that all across the country, we focus on recidivism reduction rates for individuals who have been affected by drug and alcohol abuse. But Cleveland is unique in its own way because when we first started, when I first started drug court, they were focusing on crack, cocaine, and individuals using marijuana. So as times change, we must change. So now we started to focus on the opioid epidemic. And one of the things that we've seen was that, you know, it was harder and harder to service the population of participants that were coming through the court. But as the staff started to increase their knowledge and skills base, as the team increased as it pertains to community partners, as we started being innovative and effective on how we were going to treat those individuals, drug court became a staple in the greater Cleveland community. So as for that, I still say thank you all for everything that you've done. I've always been able to tell the team that, and I see a lot of the former team members as well as the bailiff's department here, but I would just like to say thank you and continue doing a great job. I really appreciate the honor as well. Thank you.
Okay, our next recipient is called, we just came up with this title, the Architect of Drug Court, which I was not even aware of all the wonderful things he did to get drug court going. And that honor goes to Mr. Wallace Green.
Thank you, it's an honor. As a lot of you know, my mother died a week ago today. She died last Friday. I wish she could have been here for this celebration because she's as much a part of me being here as anybody and anything else. This is the greatest part of my job. There's nothing like anybody stopping you on the street and saying, thank you. I appreciate you for what you did, for what you said. You were instrumental in my recovery. There's nothing in the world like that. Because it's a fight. It is a big fight. I'll tell you a little joke. There's a woman walking on the beach. She found a lamp. She rubbed it. She said, maybe a genie will pop out. One did. She says, hey, do I get 3 wishes? The genie goes, no, I've been cramped up there in a long time. It's tough economics. You get one wish. So she pulls out a map and she says, I want these 2 countries to stop fighting. She says, this is the Middle East. You know, are you kidding? These countries have been fighting for thousands of years. How about another wish? What about money, cars, clothes? Come on. So she says, well, my son is on heroin. And if I had one wish, I would wish that he were clean and sober. Jeannie looks down, looks at the lady and says, let's have another look at that map. It's not easy what we do. And even if you had a genie in the bottle, chances are it wouldn't help. We're fighting an enemy that doesn't sleep, that doesn't eat, doesn't take a break, doesn't blink. So I want to say thank you to everybody that's part of the team pulling together. Thank you.
Our next recipient was our first public defender, and he is still here a generation later, fighting for his clients and making good recommendations on their behalf, and that's Mr. William Kelly.
Good afternoon. Can't believe it's been 20 years. When I was in high school, my mom said, "You're only as old as you feel." Senior in high school, been through a lot of issues, really short, want to be big. So Mom said, "How old do you feel, Bill, now that you've graduated?" I said, 109. And she said, "You couldn't feel that old. You still look young." And I said, "Mom, you don't understand. Talk to me later." So now I've been drug court public defender for almost 22 years now, and I feel 309. But the thing is this is highly rewarding work, and it's so good to see everyone. It's like old home week. It seems like the only constant is change, but the one thing that doesn't change is Bill Kelly. I've been here in the trenches with Wallace Green, Judge Jones, all the people gathered here, the old and the new, but we lost 72,000 last year. And people would say, "Bill, how many have you personally lost?" "Oh, about 200. But you don't go into the practice of law with death chasing you. You know, they've got issues. You know, it's very important to defend people that are innocent, that are guilty, that need a lawyer. But the bottom line is you don't go into practicing law, becoming the first drug court public defender, and face death. And the only thing you can do is inspire them. All the team here, the members, the one thing they've got going is they model a decent life and try to share their pain. They let their hair down. Oh, in my case, I can't let it down anymore. I used to look like one of the Beatles. It's hard to believe. But anyway, it's so good to see you. Thank you for this award. I always say to all the graduates, I think I've had 70 graduations now, I always congratulate them and tell them, I don't look like Moses, but I feel like Moses. So I always say, "Let my people go," and they laugh. But this is serious. The same thing happened to me, to every team member. I get stopped on the street. I don't remember all the thousands of people I've helped, but they remember me, especially if I start talking. So what happened is one day I'm getting some Chinese food, Asian food, whatever the correct term is now, Tower City. I don't recognize ladies in a uniform. She comes over, she says, "I know you," and she goes to hug me. Well, I'm afraid she has a shiv or there's going to be something because I'm a lawyer. What have I done good? And she looks at me and she said, "You were the drug court public defender and you were so kind and nice. I just wanted to thank you." That made my day. And the first person, the first week in 3D, guess who I signed up for drug court? Valerie Davis. And she comes from a church where I gave one of the sermons, and the pastor said, "Bill, you're missing your call." And I said, "No, I've got to go start a drug court." So you see how God works things out. Recovery works because you work it. Thank you again for the award. God bless you all.
Okay, so we're recognizing so many firsts here this afternoon. And so I'd like to bring up the first drug court bailiff who is still with us a generation later and doing a wonderful job. Flash has asked him, "What do you bring to drug court?" He says, "Defendants." I thought you weren't going to tell that joke good, but come on up.
Hello. Testing. I always wondered what it'd be like to have a job where people were happy to see me. Unfortunately, I've never experienced that. However, that being said, I've seen a lot of good things come out of drug court in the 19 and a half years I've been an apprehension officer. One of them being that it's like I guess a country song getting played backwards. Their dogs come back, their kids come back, hell, even the dog comes back. So I just see, such rewards, and that's about it. Thank you.
And for those of you wondering, we do need an apprehension unit because when people go missing, we get worried. And so we want to make sure that they're okay. We want to make sure we bring them back so that we can get them back on track. So that's why the apprehension unit is so important in drug court. And that's where the accountability comes in. So why is drug court so special? Why is it different from just any other drug treatment facility that you would go to? And because we will come and get you and bring you back. So we also have Regina Daniel. And Regina Daniel, she is an expert in so many things, and she has certified our specialized dockets, and she's so instrumental, and she's a go-to person, and we're so happy to have her here today. So please welcome Regina Daniel.
Hi, thank you, everybody. I always said that the drug court was the model and the flagship for all of the court's specialized dockets. Their strength was their amazing team and their compassionate judge and hands-on judge that worked so hard together. So achieving certification was very easy. It was simple to do. It was an honor to work with you all who do the very hard work of keeping everyone sober. So thank you so much. I was honored to work with you to achieve the certification. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, our next recipient is such an important part of drug court, and it really saddens me that he can't be here today. And we do have somebody accepting for Thomas Mulgrew, AKA affectionately known as T-Bone, and T-Bone is everything, let me tell you. One of the things he's done is he started doing AA meetings before drug court. And so he brings coffee and donuts, and he's just full of advice and encouragement. And so he is just an integral part of this family. And so accepting for him, Jason. And Kathy, yes, please come up. I can see you over there.
Hello. It was with great honor that I accept this, T-Bone, Jason and I, for T-Bone. He is an advocate for the drug court program. I know if he was here, he would speak on his 20 plus years of sobriety. There's not a place that when we're out and about that he knows everybody. I've never seen him in my life, but most of the people, we go out to lunch and he takes me around the city of Cleveland and shows me, it's like, this is where I used to hang out. This is where I used to pass out. This is where, all these spots. He speaks so freely and caring about his sobriety and the issues that he has. So he is just so caring and so dedicated. And I knew if he was here today, he would be so greatly appreciative of this award.
Yeah, like Judge Moore said, T-Bone's kind of like a Swiss Army knife. You need him, he'll do anything. They say if they'll give you the shirt off or back, T-Bone will give you the shirt and $10 and take you out for a cup of coffee. He calls me his work son, so he's been a great mentor to me with my 18 years of the court, taught me a lot about drug court and the program. I'm not going to talk as long as him because we'd be here till 4:30, and you'd probably be seeing if they had any room availability. So we miss him as a department and as a court, and think about him. He's out with some issues, so just keep him in your thoughts and prayers. Thank you.
Now, I'm sure you all know Bill Mason, and Bill Mason was very instrumental in expanding the drug court from the city to the county. And he was also the reason we have a little bit of cushion, some money left from all his efforts trying to get the drug court funded. And that's very important. We need lots of funding. We have lots of good programming and lots of things that we need to do. So we need money. And 10 years ago, they had another gala like this, and it was very successful, and we were able to benefit from that. And he's doing many great things now, and so we'd like to welcome and reintroduce you to Mr. Mason. Is he still here? Oh, he's gone. Okay, is anybody going to accept the award on his behalf? I guess you will. Accepting for Mr. Mason is Judge Michelle Early. All right, well, our last recipient is, I'm going to call him the professor of recovery. He knows everything about recovery. He's very candid about his story and everything, and he's been very instrumental. He was our president of our advisory board for many years, and he's still doing great things. Mr. Jim Joyner.
Thank you. Thank you. They told me that they gave the awards based on alphabetical order. If you check the names, they didn't. They put me last because they know I like to run my mouth and we'd be out of time. But I asked Bill Mason if he would leave early so that I could have his time. And he did that. So, Judge, I have a couple extra minutes. I am truly honored to be a part of this and share this room and share the awards with so many people who have changed so many lives. I've worked in this field for 48 years, planning to work another 48, God willing. I can't think of anything more important than what we do and what drug court does. But I want you to know, and I'll make a couple points and I'll be brief, we are not in an opiate epidemic. We weren't in a crack cocaine epidemic. We've been in a drug addiction epidemic for years. And I don't want you to lose sight and believe it's just opiates or it's just cocaine or it's just white or it's just black. There is nothing in this country that touches every man, woman, and child, directly or indirectly, than the combined consequence of alcohol, tobacco, and other drug use. Let me help you understand maybe where we need to go. And drug court is a wonderful part of that, but drug court alone will not do it. It's as if we live in a society perched on this huge bridge. And this bridge crosses this huge raging river below. And as we go about our daily lives, highways and byways, there are holes that we have to move past. These holes are intentionally put there. These holes are advertised. People are invited to visit the holes, and as a result, people are falling through the holes. Well, as a result of the number of people falling through, a community meeting was called. And the community got together and they said, we have to do something about all the people falling through the holes that are being washed away by this raging river. And as people sat there and they asked for suggestions, a young man in the back of the room said, I've been thinking about this problem too, and he said, I have the solution. Let's hire lifeguards along the riverbank. And as people fall through, we'll pull them out. And everybody applauded and they left. 6 months later, the meeting was reconvened. And the host of the meeting said, we've made a small dent, but we still have a lot of people being washed away. And the young man sitting in the back of the room said, I've been giving further thought to this. I know what we need to do. We'll give them ropes and long poles, and we'll reach more people. And everybody applauded, and they left the meeting. 6 months later, they reconvened the meeting, and they said, folks, we still haven't met the task. A lot of people are being lost. And at this meeting, you show up, and they say, are there any suggestions? And you raise your hand, and you say what? Patch the damn holes in the bridge. And that's what, unfortunately, we have not done in this society. We live in a country where corporations make money off of our dysfunction. They sell corporate addiction, tobacco industry, the pharmaceutical industry, the alcohol industry, and the new kid on the block, the soon-to-be legalized marijuana industry. And when I say they sell addiction, that's not a misstatement. 20% of drinkers consume 80% of the alcohol. We used, in 2015, 30% of the worldwide opiate medication supply, the United States. And on a worldwide basis of the 7.7 billion people, we consume 60% of the worldwide supply of illicit drugs. We have a drug problem, or as they say in the program, we have a thinking problem. In America, it's good life through pharmacology. Ladies and gentlemen, we're here to honor a small piece of that, a very successful piece, but I encourage you to look beyond that, because it's not just going to happen with more drug courts. We have to change our thinking. We have to change our culture. We have to change our understanding. And when you look at those numbers that are dying, I want to remind you that those are mothers and fathers and sisters and brothers and sons and daughters. Thank you so much for this honor. Thank you for the opportunity to share my thoughts with you. Thank you.
Okay, so we have, can we give all our awardees an applause? I'm so glad we were able to do this, and we probably need to do it more frequently, not every 10 years, because we need to keep bringing attention and awareness to these issues, and they're very, very important. And before we go, I just want to, I know I'm speaking to the choir, but Harry Boomer touched on it, Senate Bill 3, very, very important. We want to bring people into municipal courts where they can get some help and avoid getting a felony conviction. That's really important. And so they're going to reclassify a lot of these possession cases so that they are misdemeanors. And that's a good thing. And so please tell your Ohio lawmakers, Senate Bill 3 just makes sense. And a lot of times, if they're in a felony, sometimes they get amended anyway. But they're in a common pleas court, that's a whole different quagmire. And down here, we have everything already. Cleveland Municipal Court is ready to go. So it's a very important issue. Another little issue, Census 2020, please make sure that everybody participates in the census, because that's how we get resources allocated. That's very, very important. If they think we don't have the population, then we don't get those resources and those dollars. So it's very, very important, and I know that I'm speaking to the choir, but just spread it, because we only talk about it every 10 years, so it's very important. Thank you for that. Let me see, we have a beautiful cake over here that Tori made, and so I'm sure it's delicious. It's pretty and it's delicious, so make sure you get a slice of it. Her business, I Slay Cakes. I know she didn't want to come up here and tell it herself, so I want to make sure that people know about it. And let's see, so we'll have Mr. Boomer come and close us out. Thank you so much for coming. I think this was a wonderful luncheon. And I just love seeing everybody here. I appreciate it. Drug courts are Wednesdays, every Wednesday. If you're interested and you don't know enough about it and you want to see how it works, we're Wednesdays about 10 o'clock on, 10 to 12, if you're interested. And we appreciate your support. This is the village to talk about. It takes a village to raise somebody. It takes a village to help somebody decide they want to reclaim their lives. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Judge Moore, and my congratulations. And can we give all of the recipients another humongous round of applause for thanks. Not only are we talking about Senate Bill 3, that's important, absolutely important, but let me just say this, millions of young people today around the world are standing up to try and save Mother Earth. Millions around the world. Kids are out of school today, this day, working to save the planet that they will inherit. We have to support them. Please, if there are young people in your life, please make sure they understand how important saving Mother Earth is. It is their planet. They're going to inherit it. They want to be able to drink clean water, breathe clean air, and travel and do all the things they want to do. But if we don't save this planet, all of us are doomed. Please, I beg you, preach to the choir, sing your tune, sing that lullaby. Not only the drug court, but saving the planet. In closing, let me just say this. I'm going to read a song written in 1918. I'm going to read it because I can't sing. I chose talking for a living. I cannot carry a tune in a bucket. You don't have to stand for this, but please, I want you to listen. While the storm clouds gather far across the sea, let us swear our allegiance to a land that is free. Let us be grateful for a land so fair as we raise our voices in a solemn prayer. God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountains to the prairies to the oceans white with foam, God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God, please bless America. Everybody, please have yourself a safe trip home. Thank you for being here. We look forward to seeing you here again next year as we continue our fight to save the lives of those who are struggling every day, who in the midnight hour need your prayers and your help and that phone call. I want you to be there for them, because if you're not there for them, they cannot tell their story and they will not be there for somebody else. Have a good evening. Thank you so very much. By the way, Valerie Davis, right? Valerie Davis. We're going to see a short video here, and then we'll dismiss you. So please, to my right, the screen.
Val Davis was initially the heart and soul of our drug court program.
She was a track star and a proud graduate of John Adams High School. But the real hurdles in life came many years later.
I was struggling with crack cocaine and I got caught. And they put me in this program. I did not want to be in the program. I did everything they told me not to do, that's what I did. Then I finally surrendered. And when I surrendered, I've been off of crack now for 15 years.
Drug court is not an easy program. Ask anyone who goes through it, and Val Davis was no exception. She knew the depths of addiction, and she found comfort in being with others who struggled like she did. Going to a drug court graduation was a priority.
To me, it's like when I come, it helps me to stay where I'm at because I see that drugs are still out there, they're still available. It's like I'm giving back something. You know, I just feel as though by me coming, it helps me to stay where I'm at today.
Because she became a shining example of how someone can turn their life around, then drug court judge Larry Jones found a place for Val in the Cleveland Municipal Court's probation department.
Drug court was a new experience, and it really got us as a community starting to think about, how we treat the disease of addiction. And Val was a special person. Once she got committed to something, she'd go 100%. And she was committed to a recovery, she was committed to drug court, and she was committed to doing something for her life, okay? So, a lot of times in the criminal justice system, we say, well, if you made a mistake, you got your ex against you, hold that against you for the rest of your life. And I think it went along with drug court and recovery to give persons an opportunity. And Val, she pretty much won the job herself through her commitment, hard work, and dedication to drug court. Say, why not? And she was one of our best employees while I was at the court.
I would characterize her as an inspiration to us all. Her smile was contagious. She worked well out at the front desk for many years. She was the face of the department. That people come in, they met that contagious smile, put them in a good mood so that when they saw their PO, it was easy transition from people coming in from seeing her to seeing their PO. She took care of business out there. She made sure everyone was treated fairly and equitably, and there's big shoes to fill out there. When I walk past that desk every day, she's remembered and she's missed. She just had a personality that you had to stop and talk to her if you were walking through the front desk.
And I was always happy to see Val coming, and she was just a constant reminder that you could get sober and stay sober and be a contributing member to society, which is what she was, and just an inspiration to everybody who she came across.
She made a commitment. She made a commitment to our community, and she made a commitment to her family. As a result, she left this place in a better way.
In 2004, Val was the keynote speaker at the 16th graduation ceremony, a ceremony that attracted the attention of former Plain Dealer writer Sam Fullwood, who wrote, "Her smile beamed like a beacon for all in the room to follow." After a 15-year career working at the court, Val Davis retired last fall, but she didn't retire from the Greater Cleveland Drug Court.
Keep coming for the rest of my life. When I retire, I'm gonna keep coming. I feel as though if I don't come, I'm gonna miss something. I just feel as though I'd be an inspiration to somebody. And most of the time, tears come on my eyes because it's just a program that really saved my life, saved my family.
What a wonderful tribute to Val Davis. We thank you, Val, and we thank all of you. Please drive carefully, go in peace and in love.